But we waited for you every morning, took your overflow from you, and blessed you for it. But it's not like this kind of, like chain in the sense that there is only one kind of, there is only one cause to. It's like the sun overflows, Zarathustra receives the overflow, and everything kind of receives an overflow from the sun. So the sun is kind of the source of overflow. So it's like, yeah, the sun doesn't care whether, like, it doesn't care for hierarchy. So there's kind of indifference towards hierarchy. It doesn't say, worship me, I'm the source of the overflow. It's like, it's just this, man. So Zarathustra is able to kind of, say that, I am, he says, you great star, what would your happiness be had it not for you, us for you to shine on? Yeah, of course, yeah. Because it would not be, what I said it would have been, which is the dispeller of darkness, the light, the guide, and it wouldn't have that status, but of course, but then it's still the source, So yeah, behold, I am weary of my wisdom. Whoa, what? So kind of Zarathustra is like, what? He's weary of his wisdom? Okay, how, what? So what is, what? He's weary of his wisdom, so he's kind of, there's kind of a need that's coming from Zarathustra. He's becoming needy. Isn't like neediness something that is toxic? Because you, don't you like develop a kind of a unhealthy dependence on people when you become needy, because he's weary of his wisdom, because then he's weary, so he's kind of needy, so like he's searching, but he's like a bee that has gathered too much honey. Whoa. Okay, so he's got too much of a good thing, like he needs, like, okay, I got too much money and I need hands. I need hands outstretched to receive it. And what? It's like, what he needs. So what is he needy for? He needs hands to receive giving. Like, he needs to give. He's needy for giving. So he's got too much money. So it's like a guy who's saying, like, okay, I got too much money, I want to give because I got too much of it, like, I just want to give, So he's becoming like the sun, though. So it's like the sun has got too much. It's going to give, and it's going to give, and it's going to give, and it's going to overflow, and it's going to overflow. So I would give away and distribute until the wise among men find joy again in their folly. So he's going to give until the wise. So it's like wisdom. So you already have a critique of wisdom. The wise find joy. Like, there's a word, joy. This is something that Nietzsche always talks about. Joy. In their folly, again, not in their wisdom, in their folly, and the poor in their riches. It's not like in their acquiring of riches. So in the poor, what is this? Poor. What is poverty? What is, according to Nietzsche then, For that I must descend into the depths, as you do in the evening, when you go behind the sea, and still bring light to the underworld, you overrich star. There you go. So I would give away until the wise find joy again in their folly, and the poor in their riches. Okay, so he's going to kind of say that it's already a criticism of philosophy, because philosophy is a love of wisdom. So he's kind of directly attacking the philosophers, the tradition of going after wisdom, the tradition of going after knowledge. So knowledge is not like, the drive towards knowledge. Nietzsche is kind of trying to twist it or overturn it and say that the drive towards knowledge must also be accompanied by a drive towards joy in life, in existence, right? Without that, what is knowledge? Joyless. Wisdom is joyless. It kind of, so joylessness is also a kind of, so Nietzsche gets into this whole kind of the psychological aspect of philosophy, right? Philosophy, he sees there is a kind of joylessness in philosophy. This is joylessness in religion. This is joylessness in this whole dimension of seeking salvation, right? You, as a human being, somehow aren't enough as a human being. Like, you know, the in the sense that, okay, Nietzsche talks about the overman, the Ubermensch, but in a different way. It's like over rich human. It's not inadequate as a human being. It's like you are inadequate because you're not abundant. You're not choosing your strength to overflow. You're not bringing that out. It's a psychological thing, right? It's more like a psycho spiritual, whatever you call it, right? It's a psycho spiritual aspect of you. It's not anything, like it's not something, it's not a deficiency that you have as a human being by nature, ontologically, which, Christianity, for example, says that human beings by nature are fallen, right? We need to be transformed, by God's sacrifice or whatever. We need to be transformed. So our nature is sinful and we are dying and blah, blah, blah. So we need to look forward to something. So being human is not enough. And even like religions like Buddhism says that our embodiment is the result of desire and karma. And once we like detach ourselves from all our actions, and we like whatever, it's again, like all these religions tell human beings that they need to seek salvation, right? So what happens when that happens? Their joy in life disappears. So that is what Nietzsche is critiquing, right? So yeah, so Nietzsche has a lot to say, because when these salvation-oriented religions took over the earth, they kind of held down human beings to a point where, especially Christianity, according to Nietzsche, to a point where human beings became these herd animals. And they were kind of prevented from being that abundant, super abundant being that just overflows upon the face of the earth, and released pathologies upon pathologies. And Nietzsche is just one guy who's trying to, expose one pathology. What pathologies have these religions, these salvation-based religions, unleashed upon the psyche of mankind? It is kind of disgusting. For that I must descend. See, there is this kind of a responsibility also that comes with Nietzsche, right? Like he says, he must descend to the depths of this depravity, right? Depravity of the world. Now he's in the mountains, right? So the language that he's using is a language that is used, and all these cosmogonic heroes descend into the underworld. The sun Nietzsche explicitly here says, the sun, like how the sun goes into the underworld every evening, like that's what all the hymns to the sun god says. Even in Orthodox Christianity, it also talks about, like Christ descending into Hades, the underworld, right? So it's like a descent into this underworld of, like this pathological civilization, So that's exactly what is happening. So there was another guy who descended into the underworld. That was Dante. And Dante descended into the underworld, and he had a guide, Virgil. But Zarathustra, as you know, is not going to have a guide. Virgil is sent by Beatrice. Beatrice is his light, his son, there are certain parallels between Dante and Zarathustra's journey. So Beatrice is his light, his love, who reveals to him the divine light. Like how the Diotima and Socrates dialogue of how beauty works, how love and beauty reveal true beauty, which is true light. So it's like Beatrice kind of, it's a salvation kind of a journey also for Dante. It's a pilgrimage for Dante, but it's not a pilgrimage for Zarathustra. It's a kind of a, it's the opposite of a pilgrimage. It's like I'm going into the underworld. It's like Christ descending into the underworld. Like I'm going to the underworld to kind of save it. But Dante is terrified. He goes, stench is unbearable. Look at that. No, oh God. Virgil is like, oh dude, bro, I also am trying to, like, it's Beatrice who sent me. I'm also like not very like saintly or anything. I'm also in this place called purgatory. So I'm also like, so it's not like Dante is a master of the underworld, the lord of the underworld. And even Zarathustra is kind of mocked initially. He's not like the lord of the underworld or anything. So, but then the underworld is the pathological, in this case, the pathological history, the pathological present, pathological dimension of this repressive, salvation based model that has dominated civilization for the longest time. So that plays out in many aspects. It's not just religion, right? Religion is just a model, philosophy is a model. It plays out in like how nation states are constructed. So Nietzsche goes about, like talks about Zarathustra, and like how laws are made, how nations are made, how relationships are made, like everything. So everything like this whole model kind of dominates this whole human existence to a point where, like we cannot imagine life without that model. So even if we lose the religious part of it, it's still present in other aspects, like the spirit of revenge, the spirit of, like, so Nietzsche is an expositor, like par excellence, of how the salvation based models of religion and philosophy are accompanied, are not neutral, but are accompanied by a psychological state that is pathological, and this is seeped into the core of civilization and has unleashed systems and technologies and whatever that is like insanely powerful, which is all around us. And this is why returning to Nietzsche right now, today, will give us an understanding of what it's like to not live in such a civilization. Okay, so let's go. For that I must descend to the depths, as you do in the evening when you go behind the sea and still bring light to the underworld, you over its star. Like you, so as the sun goes into the underworld, I must go down as is said by man, to whom I will descend. So bless me then, you know, you quiet eye that can look even upon an all too great happiness without envy. You know? So the sun has no envy, right? Like why? The sun has no pathology. The sun is free. So the sun is the master par excellence. It's the model of master morality. Why would the sun envy anything? It's the sun. Like, why? Anyway, so again, he goes, bless the cup that wants to overflow, that the water may flow from it golden and carry everywhere the reflection of your delight. Again, he wants to model the sun. Again, he wants to model the sun. Again, behold the cup that wants to become empty again. Whoa, he wants to become empty again. And Zarathustra wants to become man again. That is kind of something to think about, right? Does Zarathustra began to go under? Okay, wow. Zarathustra wants to become empty again. Whoa. So it's like, why does Zarathustra want to become empty? Like, we don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And Zarathustra wants to become man again. We'll find out why. And, like as we read through it. So, yeah. So, and then Zarathustra began to go under. So Zarathustra not seeking anything. He's going to give. But then he wants to become empty. That means he wants to give everything. Maybe the sun never becomes empty by giving. It's over it. It doesn't become empty when it descends into the underworld and comes out again. Well, why? Like, why? What Zarathustra want to? What makes him want to? Like, why would he become empty? Why would Why would he want to become empty? Maybe he wants to give more than the sun gives. Is he that ambitious? Whoa! Let's see. Huh? Thank you for listening to the prologue of Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Nietzsche.